Hi, everyone. This is Willie Crawford, and I'd like to thank you for joining the webinar tonight. For those of you who don't know me, again, my name is Willie Crawford. I've been online in Internet marketing for about 16 years, and I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, I first noticed social media, and started out on Twitter and then moved over to Facebook, and didn't pay a lot of attention to LinkedIn until very recently. But I kept hearing that that's where all the big spenders are. That's where the people with the higher educations, with the CEOs, the decision makers, people like that. And so I gradually started looking at LinkedIn more and more, and that's when I noticed our guest tonight, who is William Mears, who I actually helped train as a joint venture broker. And I'm going to let him tell you more about himself. But I'm very honored to have him joining us and teaching us how to actually tap into what I honestly believe is the most important of the social media platforms out there for most of us. So with that, William, take it away. And thank you for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, Willie. You know, it's always great to be in good company. For everybody out there, I hope you've had a good week thus far. And if not, then tonight is your turnaround night, and you've still got Friday to make it happen.
I guess I should have confirmed that they could hear us okay. Why don't I ask them if you can hear us okay? Please type a Y in the chat box, and that'll let us know that our volume's okay. Okay, and we are getting a couple of Y's, so nobody's saying that I'm scratchy or that I sound weird, which I do, but that's okay. So thank you, guys. We're going to leave you muted, and William and I will go right into the presentation then.
Perfect. Okay, well, again, great to be here tonight. And so I'm going to, you know, instead of wasting time, you know, I made you a promise that I would show you how to explode your connections on LinkedIn within 5 minutes. And so I'm going to deliver on that, and then I'm going to show you some really, really great stuff about lead generation and move on into how I automate my business to, you know, automation of success is where it's at. That's when you can sit on the beach and whatnot. So here's the deal. Again, I'm going to show you the connections, and I'm going to jump right into this. So if you've got any distractions, you know, put them away. You know, kick the dog out of the room. You know, shut the door.
Get off
turn your cell phone
Facebook.
off. Yeah, get off Facebook. That's my big one, right? Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm telling you. Yeah, go ahead and put all your distractions to the side. Grab you a pad and pen. You're probably going to want to take notes on this. Otherwise, you'll be pausing, and you know, if you're watching a replay, if not, you know, live here, you're gonna, you know, miss a lot of good stuff, and then you're gonna have to go back and watch it. So, do what you can to give me your ultimate focus. I guarantee you, you will thank me for it later. Okay, I promise you that. So, getting right into this, the first thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna actually go to. Here's my LinkedIn profile.
That's good.
But yeah, thank you. I'm actually going to go to a site called toplinked.com, and I'm going to put that in the chat box there for you. And okay, so toplinked.com. This is actually an entire network of people who want to network on LinkedIn. So there's out there in the LinkedIn world something called a LION, L-I-O-N, and that's an acronym for LinkedIn Online Networker. And that means these people have, you know, usually in the thousands of connections, or even tens of thousands in some cases, you know, 10 or 20,000 people that they're connected with in the first degree. And that's the way LinkedIn works, is off of degrees of connections. So what you need to understand about that, how many of you have ever heard of the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon? Everybody remember that site?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So good. You know, people. You know, that's a really well-known site that it's hard for you to try and find someone that's, you know, a 4th or even 5th degree connection. I don't even know if there is any 5th degree connection. Everybody's reachable, in other words, in only a few degrees. And what is a degree of a connection? Well, that's, for example, I know Willie, and Willie knows someone that I don't know. Well, that would make, on LinkedIn anyway, if I had Willie as a connection, that would make him my first connection, and the guy that Willie knows that I don't would make him a second connection for me, and so on to the third degree. So LinkedIn works off of the first 3 degrees because that's about all you need. I promise.
Right.
So the deal is that the name of the game here is to get as many connections as possible that are quality. And obviously, you know, getting first connections with people that have 10, 20,000 people as first connections, you can imagine, you know, your network, if you look back on my network, I mean, at any given time, it's anywhere, it fluctuates between 15 and 25 million based on what people are doing. And this is really cool. That means I have access to tons of people through friends of friends, right?
Right.
And that's the key, you know, that's the key. If you're in touch with more people, the more people you're in touch with, the better your results are going to be on LinkedIn because your exposure is higher, much, much higher. So Top Linked helps take care of that really, really quickly. And, you know, the cool thing about this site is they have a paid option, but they also have a free option. So when you click here to sign up, you know, you just basically fill in your information, select the free option, click continue, and then when you've logged into your account, they'll point you to some Excel file downloads, and you download the Excel files, and it's got all the usernames from people who have typically paid for this service. It's a pretty neat deal here where, you know, people that sign up to be on that list that are underpaid agree to not turn you away. In other words, they agree to connect with everybody, yes. And that's very powerful. I mean, we're talking, you know, 1,000 people. And the great thing about this is when you implement this, within 24 hours, your connections will explode. I mean, you know, I actually have a joke about it. Let me show you here on this slide right here. You know, all you got to do is sit back and hit refresh. It's a joke, but it's actually pretty neat to hit refresh, and every time you do, you've got messages in your inbox, more invitations to connect from their network of people, and then your connections obviously going through the roof as well, your first connections. So you can literally watch your network grow overnight.
I watch so many people who get on LinkedIn and they struggle forever just in getting a few connections, and they never even make it past that magic 500 number or whatever. And you're saying they can go to that site, sign up, grab an Excel file, import it into their LinkedIn account, and overnight practically go to 1,000.
Oh yeah, overnight.
That's huge. That's huge.
Yeah. Now, a couple things. I'm going to actually show you how to do that, and then I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't do that right away, especially if your profile is not complete. So let me go back to LinkedIn here, and assuming you have the Excel files, you're going to want to go to what's called Add Connections. Okay. And if you notice, you can actually import your desktop email contacts or Outlook or some other application you may be using, and all your email addresses if you've got multiple ones. Typically, you know, most people do. And the cool thing is all your stored contacts will now either get an invitation if they haven't joined LinkedIn yet, or if they're on LinkedIn, it'll be an invitation to connect with you. And the cool thing is with that list, you can come over here and just copy paste them from the Excel file and hit send invitations. Just like that. Very, very cool. If you're already connected with someone, you know, it's going to automatically weed that out for you. Okay, it'll tell you so many people were weeded out because you're already connected with them.
Okay, one of the people in our chat box asked if they could import their contacts from Facebook, and I know the answer to that is yes. I don't know how to do it, but I know if you just Google the phrase import Facebook contacts into LinkedIn, that there's a page on LinkedIn that it tells them how to do that.
Perfect, perfect. Good question, by the way. That was a really good question. There is a limit. You want to be careful. There is an initial limit on how many invites you can send out, which is 4,000. You don't want to break that number. So if you've got a massive amount, you know, a massive index already, take note of that. You know, maybe even talk to LinkedIn support and say, hey, listen, I've got a list of people, you know, that's higher than 4,000, you know, or it's X amount. Can I load them all in? Can you lift that limit, or should I just wait, a day or two, and they'll give you a direct answer on how to go about taking care of that. So, but again, don't exceed that 4,000 limit.
And it really is about making connections where you want to find the right people that are a match for you and your business anyway. So, it's not rush out and get a million connections all at once. It's who are the right people.
Right. Right. Now, the one thing I did want to cover, which I'm sure you saw on the slide here, before we do anything of what we just talked about, in blowing up your LinkedIn, is that you want to make sure that your profile is complete. Because if you don't, then you're going to basically be sending an army of connections that see your incomplete profile. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're logged into your LinkedIn account, there's a meter over here, a bar that says 100% profile completeness. If you're just starting out and it's not complete, it'll tell you how close you are to completion and what you need to complete your profile. Okay, so it's not like it's going to make you guess. All right, it makes it really, really simple. A lot of times, even when with existing accounts, they'll ask you to update your account, but they have this nice little blue box at the top here that's called the wizard, and a profile wizard will pop up, and so you can actually run through that and get your profile up to 100% quickly. So a lot of people do that pretty quickly. I would say it's taken for me to modify nowadays is probably 10-15 minutes on anything I want to change, and that's with me really looking it over. To get started took me about an hour and a half to finish the profile, and that's because I was very careful on what I wanted to list and what I wanted to say. Because again, this is in a sense a sales page. I mean, if you look, 6 people alone have viewed me in the last day. I mean, if I were to look at the stats, you can kind of see, just in the last week here, I've had around 229 views for last week. That's not even counting what's going on now. So, lots of. I mean, you can see my inbox full of invites, messages. So, this is definitely one of the most powerful ways I know to jumpstart your career with LinkedIn.
Right.
So, what do you guys think about that? You excited about that? You got something to take away tonight instantly within 5 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You're probably wondering, like, who is this guy? Where'd he come from? Nobody teaches this stuff. Yeah. Okay. Great. Well, I'll get to my story a little bit later, but again, I want to make sure that you walk away with the maximum punch here. The maximum effect to apply to your business today. And the cool thing about this is that 5-minute little trick there and a lot of the lead generation strategies I'm going to be covering shortly are things that you can implement in your business tonight for free, 100%. It's not going to cost you any money. You just go and sign up. I mean, if you want to buy the premium top link service, you can. I started out personally without it, so it's not going to hurt anything if you do that and go about it that way. So that's again, my goal here is to get you up to speed and producing on LinkedIn. Okay.
And I'm already seeing the comments saying good stuff. Good stuff.
All right. Perfect. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about lead generation methods that I have laid out for you tonight. There are 5 major ones that I use personally, and again, I'm giving you what I use, not theory. It's not what a lot of people are talking about. So some of these things you probably haven't heard of yet, and I know that sounds funny because it's LinkedIn. How many things could not be covered? Well, you'd be surprised. There's stuff that about LinkedIn that I'm not even going to cover tonight. And what I want you to understand is I am not a LinkedIn expert. Okay, I'm a LinkedIn lead generation expert. Okay, lead generation is what I excel at, and I took all of my lead generation skills from my days of all the way back to being a an insurance salesman, and graduating all the way up through, to be a vice president of marketing for an offshore banking services firm. I mean, I've learned a lot of stuff about lead generation, and everything from qualifying for an insurance lead all the way up to, we're targeting people with $2 million in net worth. So a huge range there of different targets to go after. And again, lead gen is my Excel point, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. So if you've got questions about the LinkedIn site, I may or may not be able to help you with that. Most times I can. But again, when it comes to lead generation, no one's going to be teaching you what I'm teaching you. Very few people even know about what I'm about to teach you some of tonight. So,
which is why I'm happy that you're on the call, because you want to learn from the very best. I do see a question about accounts, though. Somebody's asking how many LinkedIn accounts can you have. I guess they're trying to separate their personal life from their business life or whatever.
Yeah, LinkedIn's terms of service says one account. If you're trying to separate personal from business, that's actually pretty easy to do on LinkedIn. They want you to keep your information for one entity under one entity. So they've got a companies page section where you can actually have a company and link your personal profile to that company. So if you own a company, you don't even have to have a second account, But if you've got a wife in the house, the same household or something, having a second account, not a problem. Not a problem there. But again, LinkedIn's terms of service, it says, so some people don't follow that. I wouldn't advise it, but it is done out there for sure. I'm positive of that. So, I would say stick to the terms of service. LinkedIn, they're very cautious and protective over their membership and their site. So you're in good hands if you follow the rules. They're not going to bash you like, all the horror stories you probably hear about, like Google AdWords, for example. They're not going to just cancel 100,000 members overnight unless you're breaking the rules,
Right.
And their rules are very cut and dry. Their terms of service is pretty clear on what you can and cannot do.
And when I look at the LinkedIn membership, I'm reflecting on the fact that we've got all these CEOs and decision makers. So you do want to be nice when you're playing in this playground or the sandbox. Absolutely. Because these are big wigs that you're touching there.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look, actually, we'll jump into groups here in a second, but I'll show you this. At the bottom of anything LinkedIn, you just go to the About page. Let me just open that up real quick in a new window. And here you'll find all the facts on LinkedIn as of March 31st. They've got 160 million profiles registered worldwide. They tell you how many companies are registered, all their stats. And, let's see, somewhere in here there's an 80% stat. Let's see. If I remember correctly, the stats were 80% of the users on LinkedIn are decision makers in some sort for the company that they're representing or that they work for. And, the average salary of a LinkedIn user is $80,000 a year. So if you can imagine, compared to, for example, say the Warrior Forum, that's around $35,000 to $40,000 a year. How do I get these stats? I get these stats from, again, LinkedIn's About Us page and Alexa.com. Now, that's not entirely accurate, but it's pretty daggone close. Okay, I mean, it's not too far off the mark.
Right.
And that ought to give you some perspective on the quality of people you're talking to. And you're right, you want to play nice. This is not a place to, make a lot of waves in a bad way. You want to make a lot of good waves here. And introduce yourself and properly, and we'll get into all that and how I go about it. But before I do that, I want to show you how to get those leads, because that's what most people struggle with. And no one's ever walked away from a call with me within 20 minutes and not know how to get leads on LinkedIn. And the trick is, at least for me, is I diversify. Like most things. When you diversify, and from early on, I'm sure you've heard, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Yeah, everybody's heard that. Yeah, your mama said, exactly. So the deal is, when you diversify like that, you always have a stream of leads, and some are going to be better than others, or bigger streams than others. Some are going to be more quality, even though they're less leads. So again, I'm going to show you the top 5, and the first one's going to be groups. Okay, now something about groups that most people don't know. Does anybody, let's play a little trivia here. Who knows how many groups you can have on LinkedIn?
I do.
Let's see. Yeah, I know Willie knows. Let's see. 50, 75, 50. 50 is the normal answer that I get. Actually, you're right and you're wrong, and let me explain what I mean by that. That's a good little game. The deal is you can have 50 main groups that you are a member to at any given time. Yes, you can, change those out. You can leave a group and add another one in its place if and when you max out your groups. So that is possible. But what most people don't teach you, and this is an ancient Chinese secret, okay, is that there's subgroups, okay. Inside of large groups, like for example, let's go down to the, let's go to the jobs group here. And under the jobs group, if you click on more, you'll see the tab subgroups, okay? Now, the cool thing about this is that you can only see up to 500 members with a basic account, which is the free account, per group. So your access to any group of people per group is 500 people. So if you only have 50 groups ability, then that means 500 people times 50 groups, that's 25,000 people that you have exposure to. Well, if you use the subgroup feature, that's another 50 groups. I just doubled your exposure rate, okay? Wow. Doubled, right? I mean, we're talking some crazy numbers here. We're talking, 50,000 people you've got exposure to, plus your first connections and who they know, right? And I'll show you how to properly milk them for referrals, right? In a way where they feel like they're helping you. That's great, isn't it?
It is great. Yeah. And people like helping people, actually. They like to feel like they know something that you don't, and they can do something for you that others can't.
Absolutely. Let me show you on subgroups here. You've got very targeted groups. Look, here's an information technology subgroup. So based on your target market and what you're looking for, maybe you're only looking for people in the U.S. for jobs and careers, or maybe specifically Asia. You kind of get, and look, in each of these subgroups, they've got X amount of members, right? So this is a great way for you to expand that. Oh yeah, the discussions, that's right. I wanted to talk to you about the discussions as a second lead gen. Actually, these are two lead generation methods in one, but discussions, I wanted to talk to you about those a little bit. If, the discussions are, when you become a member of a group, the discussions get mailed to you in what's called a daily digest. I'm sure any of you on LinkedIn have probably seen a bunch of those, depending on how many groups you've joined. And the thing is, you actually have to go into your settings for each group and turn that daily digest off because it's automatically selected when you join the group. Now, the cool thing about that daily digest is discussions are posted in it daily. So members of the group and new members of the group coming in, if you take a look, this group alone has had 150 people join it recently. Okay, recently. That's like these latest updates. That's like almost like a status update. So that's today. You can kind of understand the flow of new people here. Okay, and not to mention the existing people. I mean, the members in this group is somewhere around 1 million people already. It may be over by now, over 1 million. So again, posting a discussion that evokes conversation or provokes people to put an answer or list their opinion or something slightly controversial that doesn't drag you in the middle of it, like politics or something. Something controversial about maybe your business or your something neat about what your service does or your industry, for example. Maybe your industry made a new development or something and people don't know about that stuff yet. That would be an excellent discussion. And the great thing about that is these discussions show up in people's inbox every day. So, it's a good way to get noticed, especially for the, the top discussions or the discussions that get the most play, kind of like Facebook.
And it should go without saying, but I'll remind our listeners anyway that this is a worldwide platform, so it's not just Americans or just Canadians or Westerners. So don't assume that everybody thinks the way you do when you're jumping into these discussions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very true. So, it had a little static there. Yeah, we're still on. Okay,
We're
very
still on,
good.
yes.
Very good. Sometimes go to webinar.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it's all internet connectivity.
Yeah, you know it. Yeah, that's okay. We'll press on. Okay, so that's discussions and how you can use those to your benefit. Um, yeah, so let's move on to the second method. Do we have any questions so far?
Not seeing any.
Okay, perfect. The next one we have is what's called LinkedIn Answers. How many of you guys have heard of LinkedIn Answers? Anybody? Put a 1 if you have. A couple people. Okay, not too many. Okay, that's good. If you go up here to the More tab, Answers is the first one. Obviously, again, there's a ton of stuff we're not covering, okay? But Answers is a very popular one. And how many of you guys have heard of, put a 1 in the box if you've heard of Yahoo Answers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's heard of that one. Okay. LinkedIn Answers is the same virtually as Yahoo Answers. You know, it's a place where people go to ask questions or expert advice, and they get it from the experts. And so, two things about how to use this. First off, as a lead gen source, you can actually search for questions. Okay. You can answer questions. Okay. So you can, first off, let me explain how this works. If you answer a question, we're talking about establishing your credibility. You know, you're answering a question that's specific to something you have knowledge of, right? And the more questions you can find related to your field and answer, the better off your credibility will be. And you may be asking why. Well, LinkedIn is a trusted source, trusted by Google even. I mean, if you type your own name into Google search and you have a LinkedIn profile, it's going to show up on the first page, I guarantee it, as long as you type your exact name in.
So
Now,
this is a pretty powerful way to get your name out there as an expert. I mean, with somebody else saying
got
you're the
it.
expert.
Exactly. LinkedIn points to you as the go-to guy. And I mean, what does that take to reach that kind of status? Well, you can reach that in a month. If you did one post a day, you'd have 30 posts, 30. I mean, out there on Google ranking for long tail, key terms in your niche. I mean, everybody else is screaming SEO this and SEO that. And, the way I look at it is LinkedIn is a growing site, somewhere near 180 million people now. And they are a trusted source from Google. So why not, it's kind of like posting a YouTube video. It's the same thing almost. It's a no-brainer for SEO because Google loves them both. Google owns YouTube, so of course they love YouTube, but they love LinkedIn, just as much, especially for when you're looking up people or brands or companies. LinkedIn profiles will usually be near the top, if not on the first page, most of the time. So this is a great way for you to establish credibility. And secondly, you can, search questions to, not just answer them, but look for buying questions that your people might have, right? Thirdly, if you've got problems of your own, which, I have a motto, a philosophy about life is that everybody has problems, right? It's just what kind of problems do you have? Do you have the good kind or the bad kind? Oh, I've got $1 million. What am I going to do with it all? That's a good problem to have, right? So look at things a little bit different. That's a little bit of a mindset, mind shift there. But think about life as everybody has problems. What kind do you have? What kind do you push for? I want the kind that are good. I always look for the good problems.
The beauty of this technology is that chances are if you have a solution to a problem, there's somebody out there looking for it.
Absolutely.
And if you have a problem, there's a good chance somebody out there has put the answer out there for you too. So it's good to go on a platform like LinkedIn and search for either answers or problems.
That's it. So that's LinkedIn Answers. This actually gets used a lot. Let me just show you a couple of questions here. Look, this would probably be good for a broker to answer. What are top three things people are looking for in a long-term business relationship? How often do you watch an entire video on YouTube? That's a video question. let's see. Some of these things are politically based. I avoid those. I look for, let's see, you've got all kinds of different different deals here. Let's take a look and see about technology, what technology has. Here you go. Here's some buying questions. What are the ingredients of a successful business intelligence solution? So if that's what you specialized in, you could talk about that. Let's see here. More open questions. Let's take a look. Find you a couple. They're all in here. You just got to search for them. That's all. And obviously there's an advanced search up here. You can type in by keywords. So I won't spend a ton of time on this. There's also a search bar here for answers, which you can change to many other things to search for. But yeah, LinkedIn Answers, great resource. Any questions on that so far?
Not seeing any. That is one of my favorite tools, though, just for building my credibility. I do go out there and put answers out there. So
Awesome. See, even Willie uses that. Willie's a pro.
Well, I'm looking at
guy.
what's the best use of my time, and the answer to me is put my expertise out in front of people who have the money to spend and can pay for it when they want to buy it.
That's it. I mean, and you see, this is what I want everybody to pay attention to. Willie just made a very good point. I know for a fact that Willie's got several thousand articles out there with his name on it. I mean, he's got blogs galore. He's got tons of resources and places that he posts, and obviously over time that builds credibility. So to hear him say, hey, I use this for credibility building because this is where people are spending money, take notes. I really hope you're taking notes on that because, a pro just gave you an insider tip. That doesn't happen too often, Yeah,
one of my mentors, Dan Kennedy, says, market to the people who have the money, and so that's what I do.
That's it. That's a beautiful philosophy. I love that. All right, so we're going to move into Signal then, LinkedIn Signal. How many guys have heard of LinkedIn Signal? Yeah.
Not as many.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of expected that. That's what I was thinking. That's okay because LinkedIn Signal is actually relatively new. And when I say relatively new, I mean it's a few months old, maybe 3 or 4 months now. I don't remember the exact date that it came out. I just remember, I'm the kind of guy who goes through LinkedIn and says, "Oh, what's that?" and just start clicking until I figure things out. So LinkedIn Signal is actually really, really slick. As you can see, my network is somewhere in the neighborhood of tens of millions, and these are the status updates that have been done today. Okay. Now status updates. Let me go back home to my profile here really quickly. As you can see, I can share an update just like on what you can do with Facebook. And the cool thing is I can actually select my Twitter account, so it'll blast out to my Twitter account as well. All my followers. It's pretty cool stuff here. I can attach a link. I can choose who I want to make it visible to. And if you look on your profile, all the updates, so people that others have connected with in your network are shown. Status updates. Let's see if we can find. Here's a status update, right? People can like them and things. So yeah, it's very similar to Facebook in that sense, where there is a viral capacity with status updates. But what I wanted to get into more, instead of talking about how to make things go viral, is more of how to find targeted, posts or status updates from people. We're talking buying keywords, or possibly even people you could partner with in business based on keywords. So a lot of people like to advertise in their updates where they'll show a link and say, look at this cool, broker I found, right? And then they'll have a link to a broker or something, and that's how they advertise or get the word out. So this is a great way that is literally untapped. Okay, no one's taught this before. I promise you, I've seen all the LinkedIn training out there that's well, virtually all of it that's out there. No one talks about this. No one even makes mention of this program, and it's not because it's 3 to 4 months old. I mean, that's a long time for this thing to be out there. I've been playing around with this for the last month or two, and just over that time frame, I've seen several LinkedIn strategies launched and things like that, and nothing covers LinkedIn Signal. And what you got to understand about Signal is, again, this is tapping into status updates. So even though LinkedIn is a business professional network, there's a ton of personal activity going on, where people post not necessarily the things that they eat. So it's a little more mature audience, than Facebook.
Right.
They're going to be posting business professional things, but they may post that they're on vacation or something that happened to them on vacation that was funny or odd, and it's still, or maybe they're visiting the karate championships or just something crazy, wacky like that. And if you have interests or hobbies, this is a great place to type them into the key search here and keyword search here and find them based on those topics and connect with them. Okay, great way to start building your connections and networking on LinkedIn. And that's the key here. If you haven't noticed the trend, is that LinkedIn is, your profile may be built as a resume, but if you saw mine, I actually use a call to action, some sales copy type, on my summary, things like that, where people look at that and they call me because my number's readily available, and so is my call to action. I treat LinkedIn as more 100% networking instead of 50% resume, 50% networking. I don't like that because I don't need a resume.
Right.
I've got recommendations and people talking about the work that I've done. That's all I need. You can look at my past work history and all that, and if that's what you dig, that's cool. But most people that are looking on LinkedIn for work, or for work from people or specialization, they're looking for someone that can get the job done, not where you graduated high school,
Right.
or not if you were in the military. I mean, that may be a bonus, kind of a side benefit, but it's just much better to have some sort of a call to action, at least in my opinion, on the profiles there. So that's LinkedIn Signal. Do we have any questions on that?
I'm not seeing any.
Okay. Brand new topic there. You guys excited about this? Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeehaw. Wow, somebody said yeehaw. That's my kind of guy. I don't know if you guys know or not, I'm originally from the South. I'm from Alabama, actually, Birmingham. And so, yeah, yeehaw is right.
I didn't pick up on the accent. I've been to Birmingham.
Yeah.
I remember the fire ants there.
Yeah, they're bad. Oh, man, they're horrible. Yeah, my accent, it's funny. A lot of people tell me when I'm really, really happy or, really, really angry or really, really sad, it'll come out.
That's when it slips out.
Yeah, that's when it slips. Yeah, I go back to my roots. Yes, sir. So, it's funny how that works. I guess I've been away long enough. I was in the military, and my work allows me to go pretty much anywhere. I'm currently in Panama, for those of you that don't know. So the country, not the city. Not
Right.
Panama City, the country.
And you mentioned that in your profile that things like the fact that you were in the military, it isn't you're not building out a resume, but some of those things, like people think of military people as very
Absolutely.
disciplined. So
Yes, they do.
it can be a relevant factor.
It can be, yeah, it can be relevant. Like I said, it's still listed on my profile. A lot of my history is, and obviously, I worked, for example, my sophomore year at McDonald's. I don't have that listed on my LinkedIn profile.
Right.
Did I learn a lot of valuable lessons working there for 6 months? Absolutely. It was my first job. First paying job. So. But do you see it on the profile? No, you don't. If someone asks me about it, I'm not ashamed. Are you kidding? Look at where I'm at today, and I worked at a McDonald's. I mean, that ought to give a lot of people hope.
Right.
So anyway, that's LinkedIn Signal.
What you remind me of, though, is that LinkedIn is to an extent like a giant search engine. So when you're building out your profile and when you're posting different things on LinkedIn, all those really are like keywords that somehow
Yes.
can be found, via various searches on the platform.
Yeah, LinkedIn search engine is unique in a sense that I don't know of any other search engine that's based off of only your network. I see a common misconception is when they do a search for people up here, they they see themselves. If I typed in broker and they say, oh look, there's William at the top of the page. Yeah, well, LinkedIn counts me as part of my own network, so naturally I'm going to be at the top of that as a relevant. My own profile is irrelevant to that key term that I've targeted. So what's funny is, if Willie were to go type that in, yes, I'm connected to Willie, so I would show up on his results, but I'm not guaranteed a top slot. Okay, so there are different factors that play into where you end up on a search result for each
That's
person.
interesting, because I've heard people say, oh, I'm ranked #1 in the world on LinkedIn for whatever,
Right.
and it's not in the world, it's on their network. Yeah.
It's on their network, yeah, and that's usually just a fraction, and as your network gets bigger, then obviously that's going to be a little more difficult to place higher. But again, anything on that first page, I mean, there's 20 plus results on the first page there, so not too bad, not too shabby if you can do that. A good way to tell is to have a friend go and search you. Or ask help from someone you don't even know to go and search your term that you're targeting and see where you show up. Like maybe a third connection. And
Right.
that'll kind of give you an idea where, you do that 5 or 6 times inside of a short period, you can kind of tell where you rank overall. But it's not guaranteed. It will fluctuate, and it is based on your individual or the network of the individual doing the search, conducting the search. So.
Okay.
Big misconception there. Don't be fooled. don't buy LinkedIn SEO or something from somebody who says they'll get you #1. So be careful with that stuff. Okay, so we're going to move into the group messaging, and this is something that I know for a fact several people know. So I'm not going to ask if you know that or not, but I'm going to show you a couple extra things about it that are different. And the deal is again, this can all be done for free. So if anybody's got questions about whether this is paid or not, this is all for free. So let's go to hotels just for an example here. And as you can see, there's a members tab up here in the top of the group. And when I click that, again, I'm only going to be able to see 500 members, but I can see that there's a total of 121,000. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is you can see again 25 pages, 20 results each page. That's 500. After 25 pages they stop. For the basic account.
You keep mentioning the basic account. So, but you can't. I have an upgraded account, but
Right.
that extends your network quite a bit.
Yes, yes, it does. There's two extra levels or 3 levels of LinkedIn accounts, and the mid-level will give you 600 reach instead of 500, and then the ultimate premium deal they got is up to 700, per group. So yes, you can, if you do have a premium account, you can extend your network considerably. So what I'm teaching you, that if you've got a paid account, it's even more effective, in the end. So that's cool. But as you notice, as I go to here, these people are first connections, but I share a group with them. So the deal is in messaging on LinkedIn, you cannot message someone unless you are directly connected to them, which is a first connection, and here's the first so you can tell, okay? Or you share a group with them. So let me show you an example. Down here at the bottom of the page, let's cycle through. Maybe we'll find some second connections here in the group. No, we're still on first. Goodness, I've got around 2,400 connections. It's sometimes challenging to find. Here we go, some second connections, which means I cannot directly message them unless I share a group with them. Okay, that's what I want you to catch here. And so here you see send message. You click that, it pops up, you drop your subject, your message, and you send. And that message will go directly to their inbox. We're talking a 100% inbox rate here. And not only can you message them, you can invite them to connect. Now remember, there are limits on how many invites you can send. So if you use that top linked list and have your own connections, be careful you don't go over that limit, okay? That's very important. So
and was that the limit you said was like 4,000? Is that what you said?
4,000.
Yeah.
4,000. That's the limit for the initial load. Yep. And so this is a great way, just to go right down the page and find those people that you want to message. Here, and again, you can target by group. We're in a hotel group, so let's say I wanted to target maybe owners of companies. Well, there's several ways I can do that with a keyword search here. I can type in the word owner, right, and everybody that has the word owner in their profile will come up. Look, owner, right? Owner's in here somewhere. It's not showing. Owner, right? You get the idea.
Right.
I can also type in words like CEO. I can type in president. I mean, you totally get it here. You could use all your title keywords here. What's your title in the company keyword, and
like maybe buyer,
find,
like the person who's responsible for making the buying decisions. So their job title is buyer.
Yeah, you can find human resources people. You can find anybody you need. Anybody you need. You can find based on a keyword search here that LinkedIn allows you to do. And this is again on the basic account. You can do more with an advanced search and a paid account or a premium account. So one of the reasons I use, just to show you as an example, when I show up in a group under searches, you don't even get to see my profile yet, but look at what you do see. You see my call to action and my phone number, and because I have click to call on my browser, I'm one click away. That's pretty convenient,
That's pretty powerful.
So, yeah, I mean, people see this, and I get messages and calls, all the time from people saying, hey, actually, I just got a call the other day from a gentleman who is an Amazon bestseller, and I've got an appointment with him tomorrow, Friday, a follow-up appointment anyway, to discuss terms of broker, doing a JV broker setup with him. And,
nice.
And he's got an audio course for it, and it's a really slick setup, just to have people. I mean, this guy, what's funny is, based on my profile, he joined a group that was targeted for people who want broker services, which was awesome. He emailed me twice, called me twice, left a voicemail, registered on my JV Newsfeed site, which is the network of brokers that I have set up for affiliates and vendors, and I mean, he did all this in like literally less than an hour, I guess would be because I was gone, I wasn't around. That's the beautiful part about it. I was out grocery shopping, come back and I got this guy who's blowing me up in every resource possible that he had to get a hold of me, and so I called him back and set an appointment, and he's like, yeah, I'm looking for you. He said that actually, I'm looking for you. And I said, all right, well, tell me what you got, and let's go to work. So, again, I want to stress to you, well, actually, I'll get to that in a minute in my story. I don't want to ruin the surprise there.
No, okay.
I'll show you how little you need to know about LinkedIn in order to be successful, okay? If you apply just what I give you tonight, you're going to end up with leads regardless, okay, of how well or not so well you know LinkedIn. But that was a good point. Okay, so that's group members and messages. I mean, that will take some time to do that by hand, but I'm going to cover some ways to automate some of this stuff a little bit later. Now, the last thing I want to show you on leads is company pages. Now, this is actually really, really cool stuff here. If you go to companies here, or there's a companies tab here, you can go there and do that. What I'd like to do is maybe, let's say we're talking about SMS marketing, for example. So maybe I want to look for an HVAC company that wants to do an SMS campaign to their past clients. Maybe summer's coming up, and air conditioners a lot of time go kaput, right at the early summer. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
And,
for those who don't understand HVAC, why don't you explain that one for us?
oh yes, HVAC is heating and air conditioning. I apologize. That's a lingo term amongst contractors. Heating, venting, and air conditioning, right? Isn't that what it stands for? Something like that?
Yeah, and for people who live in climates like we do, it's what increased productivity in the world, like 200%. Because in the old days you couldn't work when it was too hot, and so heating and air conditioning is critical to businesses.
Absolutely. I mean, especially so commercial, or industrial use. Yes, that's even bigger. Absolutely. So look at this one. This one looks like a home service, right? But if I click on their page, you can see he's targeted based on keywords, right?
Right.
He's not really developed the profile out, so that's not very attractive. But let me show you some other ones. I bet there's some here that maybe have more employees. Let's take a look here. Maybe let's go with this one. So here we go. Okay, so now you've got your description of the HVAC place, right?
Right.
You've got all the people that are, look at this. These are all the people that work for this company that I'm connected to. I've got 3 second-degree connections, and they have a total of 40 employees on LinkedIn, this company does, okay? Look at this. The vice president and GM is my second connection. How am I connected? I'm connected to this guy. Okay, so let's say I want to target this company. Maybe I look at their website. I see that, okay, they're spending money. I've got an HVAC campaign set up for SMS or whatever it is that I'm working on or offering. So I would go to Mark Stout. Let me just do that real quick. I'd send him a message. He's my first connection, so I can send him a message and say, hey, Mark, it's good to connect with you. Is there any way I can help you out? I'd take a look at his profile. What can I do to help you? Hey, look, I can help you change your websites around and make them look a little better, I can help you, do some different things on your profile, maybe add some applications. See these groups that are showing visible? You can actually make those private to where people don't see what groups you're a member of. So it doesn't make your profile so long, right? Look at that.
Right.
And then look at this. Extension 101. You think I'm going to get a gatekeeper with that? No. Right?
Right.
I can see he's in California. I can see his age. I can see what he's interested in, and he's got one app, which means there's things like TripAdvisor and Amazon Reading List and all kinds of stuff, and that's just what I can help him with on LinkedIn. What if I could help him with a couple of business strategies and say, hey, listen, I'll tell you what, there's somebody I would love to meet that I know you know firsthand, and it's this guy over here. What was his name? Richard Cook. I'd like to meet Richard Cook. So would you mind, introducing me? And he'll send a message to him because guess what? They're first connections. He can send a message,
Right.
introduce me, and now I can go and connect with that second connection and make him a first connection and have a conversation back and forth, or call him, and talk to him about what it is that I'm offering SMS-wise, just like that. So you can see how doing that you bypass a lot of the gatekeeper stuff. You're not really cold calling anymore. I know so much about the people. A lot of times they're like, man, how did you how did you find out all this stuff? And it's like, well, sir, you got a LinkedIn profile. Oh, and then you say, we're LinkedIn buddies. And I love saying that because buddies, LinkedIn connections sounds too cookie cutter, too dry, too impersonal. But if I say we're LinkedIn buddies, I mean, that's got more of a personal feel to it. People love buddies. Buddies are good.
And what strikes me about the profile is I can look at his profile and know enough about him to not say the wrong things too. Not offend him if I know his interest.
Right. Well, look. I mean, yeah. He posts stuff on opinionated stuff on saying, hey, look, they need to be retained to help people move towards renewable energy. So there's an interest he has, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, yeah. Again, it's his entire bio sitting right here in front of you. Everything he's ever done, what he feels his skills and expertise is, Right? So this is him trying to describe himself in a word cloud, basically. I don't know if you can get better than that. I mean, this goes, if you're good at psychology, this goes very far.
Yeah, it does.
You know, so there's you can see what other people say about him and recommending him, right, for his work. Apparently, he's only got one for Apollo Energy, so maybe you could help him come up with, you know, a couple more recommendations. You know, just some food for thought there on that, and that is how you use company pages, or one way that I use company pages to get leads. You know, direct leads. We're talking going straight to the man in charge. And, you know, vice president, general manager, that's the guy who runs the day-to-day.
That's the guy who has the checkbook.
That's right. I mean, he may say, hey, I want to talk to the president or get him on the line, but he'll do it, and he'll do it right away and make a decision, you know, much faster than, oh, well, let's all do a board meeting and get together. Yeah, you know, you can target companies that fit the bill there. And if you do your job well enough on the research, that's the key. You gotta do a little bit of research here, but totally worth it in my opinion. So those are, again, the top 5 lead generation methods that I use.
Okay.
Okay. So hopefully you got some good notes on those. Are there any questions about any of what we've covered thus far?
No, I'm not seeing any.
Okay. How many guys are excited, ready to run off the webinar right now? Couple people, yeah.
Yeah, I won't
okay,
repeat what I won't repeat the language.
Yeah. Right. It's probably the yeehaw guy, I bet.
Yeah.
I didn't remember the name from the last time. Anyway, man, yeah. Okay, so here's the deal. I don't want you to leave just yet, and I've got some things I want to show you that are really going to, number one, hit home and relate to you. Because I'm not much different from you, I promise you, and I'll get to that in a second. But I also want to show you how I take it a step further. You know, I take it to that next level. This is really next level stuff, but I'm really going to blow your mind here in just a few minutes on how I automate everything, and I want to share that with you so that you can be as effective as I am, if not more. Okay. So what I want to do right now is talk about networking on LinkedIn. And this is something that most people get wrong, so really, really pay attention here, okay? I showed you how to go and get the leads. Now I need to show you how to properly approach them and actually talk to them and message them. You know, I want you to understand something. This is not, this is not this is not a license to spam. This is not email marketing. So email marketing is a little bit different, you know, where it's give some value and then promote a product. Well, most times people, you know, in terms of value, they want help or could use help or appreciate help more than actually you just sending them something for free. You know, that's almost spam to them. You know, they want to network. So you've got to understand this is more networking than it is, hey, let's give them some free stuff and then tell them to buy this.
Yeah, and in fact, I look at my personal experience where if somebody sends me a note saying, here's my free ebook, I'm thinking, you're what? You know, because I have a hard drive full of free ebooks. You know, but if somebody said, you know, I noticed you made a spelling mistake on your web page or something like that, or I noticed some form is not working on your website, that person has helped me, and I feel a sense of reciprocity towards them. But somebody that says, you know, here's my free ebook that I think you'll really like, I read that as I'm trying to get you to look at my ebook, so maybe you'll help me sell it. You know, so it's almost like a pitch.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's just one of those things where this is a networking. You know, imagine being at a dinner party, for example. You know, what would you say? You know, would you just walk right up to people and say, "Hey, here's a free something something"? You know, "Hey, here's a free, you know, whatever." No, you wouldn't do that. You would say, "Hey, I'm William Mears. Nice to meet you. What do you do?" You know, oh, you're into this and that. Okay, cool. I've always wondered about stuff like that. What do you know? What does that entail? You know, and you start getting to know them and actually talking to them about subjects related to them or ways that you can help them as opposed to just giving free stuff. So again, it's more networking oriented, or I should say, it is networking oriented, 100%. And that spam stuff's not gonna get you anywhere. You're going to spin your wheels. So I definitely want you to be able to shift gears here from if you have a list in email marketing to what you can do with LinkedIn, it's just as powerful, just a different approach. That's all. So the rule number one that I always have is to be a giver. Help others first. Ask them if you can help them. If there's errors on their profile, like Willie was saying, or website, or if there's something you have specific knowledge on, that's where the LinkedIn Answers comes in, right? Or status updates through LinkedIn Signal. Those are great ways to help people out and start getting connected. Whether or not you even here's what's so funny. You can help someone out that you don't even know. You don't even know what they do. You didn't even really look at their profile, okay, and study them up. And what happens is it's just one of those things where you help someone out in a good way, they're going to want to return the favor. I've had many of people come to me and say, "Man, you've really helped me out. Thank you. Is there anything I can do for you?" And I'm sure, absolutely. Send this message out. Or do you know anybody that is looking for this? Because I've got some guys that are capable of providing that, or I am.
It's the old law of reciprocity. It's sort of hardwired into us. If somebody does something for you, something nice for you, whether they ask for it or not, you feel like you should help them out. And also, it's you don't do something for somebody necessarily looking for them to reciprocate directly. Maybe they know someone who can help.
That's right. That's exactly right. A lot of times, just first off, you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you something. I love my business. I love what I do. Because of the fact that I actually get to help a lot of people out consistently every day. And, sometimes it doesn't make sense. We'll connect and maybe, it's funny, 3-4 months down the road, I'm that guy you helped out with that such and such problem. Oh, yeah, I remember. How are you? Now we're all buddies again, and it's like, hey, I haven't talked to you for 3 or 4 months, but because I helped you forever ago, you remembered that. It made a lasting impression, and you don't forget the people that help you. Whether they have a name or not, you don't forget.
Drifting off slightly, we're all salespeople, but a lot of us feel uneasy about selling things because we feel like we have to be manipulative. But you don't have to be manipulative. You just point out to people how you can help them and actually want to help them, and then it becomes natural for them to want to buy what you have. If
That's
they have
right.
If you have what they want, they're going to buy it. So you don't need to be manipulative at all. Just be helpful.
Exactly, and that's the idea. When you have a network of people, you help each other. Any great organization or well-run organization. As an example, my experience in the military. It relied heavily on teamwork.
Right.
Heavily, and if one person failed, the others picked up the slack, or carried the man. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was just one of those things where you push forward, you succeed as a team, or not at all. And that was the thing. That's the thing about a network. A lot of people have a negative connotation of the word networking. They think it's, hi, here's my business card, call me. Hi, here's my business card, call me. It's that's not what it is. It's well, I mean, a lot of people do that.
Right.
But taking that shotgun approach with no real feeling or deep connection, I mean, that's you're not playing the odds. You're really costing yourself a lot of extra work, more than really you need to, because I've talked to, and maybe this goes back to my insurance sales experience, but I used to average anywhere from 7 to 10 referrals per person that I sat down with, whether I did business with them or not, because I always gave them something of value. To where when they walked away from the table with me, even if they didn't do a deal with me, they felt solid and trusted me enough to where they knew that anybody they referred to me would be in good hands.
Right.
Period. And, I mean, because sometimes they would sit down at the table and the deal didn't make sense. It just didn't make sense. And I would sit there and tell them, you know what, I'm not trying to not sell you here, because everybody needs insurance, and we've talked about your needs. You need some more, but I'll tell you, you've got a heck of a deal here, and what I can come up with is not going to beat that. I'm sorry. You should stick with what you got and don't let anybody tell you different. Maybe reevaluate in a few years, but I highly doubt it's going to change. Stick with what you got. And they appreciate me so much more. I'll end up with, I've walked out of houses where, people came and dropped a Rolodex, literally an old Rolodex, down on the table and said, "Take as long as you need." And then they went and watched a game, and I'm sitting there at the table. I wish I'd had a copy machine or something, because I was writing for, like I was taking an ACT exam or something.
Right,
Just crazy writing, and walked out of that house with 100 plus that day, and of good leads. And
but what made them do that was that you built trust with them. They trusted you enough to turn over their friends' contacts.
I advised them. I approached them more as a helper and advisor than I did as a salesman. Absolutely. Right. Because I know that enough sit-downs, enough times I talk to, here's what I'm getting at. You talk to enough people on LinkedIn that way, you will end up with business. I don't care, what you do or help them with, you will end up with business, because of it's just a natural order of things. You can't dispute it. It's undisputable. It's or indisputable.
Inviolate.
Yeah. Here we go. So yeah, you get the idea. Referrals is king here, at least for me, and connecting with people. Really connecting, not just LinkedIn connecting, but making that connection and having an actual conversation with them about a common interest or something educational or useful. And again, it's not about pushing that service. That's going to kill your business if you do that. And that goes to say, even outside of LinkedIn, really, I guess is what I'm getting at. You should make that a philosophy, and if you do, things will come back to you tenfold, guaranteed. And what's funny is you're going to lose, for those of you that keep score, which I wouldn't if I were you, you're going to lose count. You're going to have to stop counting, because from you giving so much, you get back way too much for you to count.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Yeah, it's not feasible for you to count that. So yeah, that's how you network properly on LinkedIn. Do we have any questions about that? That's a very broad topic.
No, I think they're still digesting that. How do you do that?
Right. Hopefully they're finishing up their notes. Okay, very good. Because again, this is actually not just networking on LinkedIn. This is how you network. This is how the masters network right here. And it may take some time to perfect this, but I'll tell you right now, just helping, that Good Samaritan rule, think about this, for example, just one last example, we'll move on. When you see a wreck on the side of the road, on the interstate, you slow down, don't you? Why do you slow down? To see what's going on, right?
Right.
And what's funny is most times if you weren't right there for the wreck, you almost always, I don't think I've ever come up on a wreck where there wasn't somebody pulled over to help. And that's because somebody was in need. It's just one of those things where somebody's in need and people jump to the rescue. People step up to the plate, so to speak, and make things happen to make sure people are safe. Just ordinary citizens, everyday people. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that you think you think, well, probably to yourself, well, most people wouldn't pull over because you only see a few cars pulled over. Well, that's when the other instinct kicks in that, oh, there's some people already over there helping him, he's going to be okay. Or there's emergency responders there, they're going to be, there's nothing I can do at that point, right? But I guarantee you slow down thinking that you may need to pull over and help. Guaranteed.
Right.
You're not slowing down thinking, oh, I need to be careful. No, you're thinking that happens later, after you see the wreck. You see the wreck and go, man, I need to be careful.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
When you're looking at the wreck, rubbernecking as we call it, the thing that's going through your head the most is that person okay? Is everything okay? Or do I need to stop and see if I can help? And it's just one of those things. And so, that Good Samaritan law, as I call it, it's always about, coming from an approach of can you help me? That's a good thing to do there. So I'm going to move on a little bit into automation and explain a little bit about my story. And I'll make this brief because I don't want to bore anybody with the success I've had, but I want to show you how achievable it really is by anybody that's on this call tonight. And I really mean that. I've talked to people, again, 20 minutes of actually just working on the LinkedIn profile one-on-one, and you'll never look back. It's one of those things. So my story on using LinkedIn, it's actually a really odd story. I have a sales and marketing background, as I told you earlier, and I graduated into my own consulting practice after I left my position of VP of marketing, and that's when I really started to get into more networking, because I needed to generate my own leads. That's when I started establishing my credibility, and that's when I also found a couple of mentors for LinkedIn. And what's funny is I was able to take what they taught me about LinkedIn, expand on that, and really drive home the lead generation aspect of LinkedIn, which is obviously the money pulling part, right? I mean,
right.
that's the missing link. Most people aren't on LinkedIn because they don't feel like they can make money with it, or they think, oh, it's just a networking site, or oh, it's just a resume site. No, this thing is made to pull leads and business. Lots and lots of businesses down on LinkedIn every day, guaranteed. And there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to get your piece of the pie. And I saw that, I recognized that opportunity right away. And I've been working extremely hard since probably actually about a little before this time last year, and since last year on lead generation methods alone. So, and specifically to LinkedIn here. So I graduated from, again, I transitioned back from a consulting practice to fewer clients, and with that extra time that I had, I actually jumped into being a vendor. And so I made several products, a couple of which were on the subject of LinkedIn and training and how to use it, and covering a few of the topics we covered tonight. But a lot of the stuff I gave you tonight is brand new, never heard before.
Right.
It's been a while since I've talked to people about LinkedIn, other than an individual basis. So, I moved from being a vendor into combining all of my skills, which is sales and marketing background both, and being a vendor, that vendor experience, into becoming a broker. So I said all that to say this, and I was mentored under Willie himself, and I've got a lot of training from a lot of other mentors out there. I always, first off, a rule of me, a rule that I have is I always have at least 2 to 3 mentors on hand, because I want to always grow who I am and where I'm at, and that's the deal. So take that for what it's worth. Hopefully you wrote that down. Get you a couple of mentors, move forward in life and business, okay? Because that's important here. But the idea is, I'm a broker. I need leads. I am not my business is not being a LinkedIn expert. My business is lead generation for my own business. So believe me when I say that I'm in the trenches, I'm in the trenches with you. I use only what works. So everything I taught you tonight is that much more valuable. This is not theory. This is proven, tried and proven stuff that works. So keep that in mind. Now, one of the keys to my success today in LinkedIn, fast forwarding to today, is software. There's a lot of software out there. Well, not a lot, but a few pieces out there, and it just doesn't cover it all, okay, for what you need. And I got tired of it, so I went into development stages on a software back in November, actually, and had a beta version out at the end of January, early February, and have been running it ever since. And I wasn't even, I wasn't even going to release this. This wasn't something I had intended to release. There's a lot of things that I use on it for personal use, but that makes sense for everybody else as well. But I'll tell you right now, nothing else on the market even comes close to what I'm about to show you. And so I want you to take a look at the software. This is the software right here. Now, this thing is Actually, I just booted this up, so it's going to take a while to load some connections and everything. So, but just to give you an idea, you'll be able to send messages to and automatically we're talking. So this is automation here to your contacts, to all the groups that you're a member of, okay? And you'll be able to send any message you want. Now again, one of networking or a networking-based message will definitely help your case here, okay? You don't want to just go and spam people with an offer or a paid offer or this or that. Send them training, you know, ask them if they need help with something, things like that. So
Yeah, I'd like to highlight the fact that when you send that message using the LinkedIn system, that it's not like you're sending an email from your email. It's going through LinkedIn system with their permission.
yes, yes it is. And that's the beautiful part about it, 100% inbox rate, you know. The cool thing is this thing sends messages to groups or group members and contacts 50 at a time per message. It does what's called blind carbon copy them, which means they don't see that they're all getting that message, right? And you're able to send out several hundred messages, you know, in literally a minute. And I'm not joking when I say literally a minute. You know, actually, I think I can show you on my account to save some time here. And under my inbox, if you were to look under the sent section, I believe a couple nights ago I sent a series of messages out, and I'll show you an example of what it looks like. Yeah, July 31st, so that was a couple days ago. Here's, you know, 50 at a time. It doesn't show all the names, but there's, you know, several messages here, all sent on July 31st with the software. And that literally took a couple of seconds. I was showing somebody that there, and you know, pretty cool stuff how that works. But there's a lot more to this software than just that. You know, you can scrape your contacts information and export it to Excel, which includes their, you know, their name, birthday, phone number, address, all the stuff that they have listed. You know, even an email.
The term scraping sounds sort of grungy, but this is publicly available information that people put on their profile, and so all you're doing is collecting it and putting it in your database so that you can, you know, look up those facts.
That's right. Here's the cool thing about LinkedIn. They're very strict about their rules and what's allowed and what's not. And one of the great things about the software is that I designed it to where when I say scrape, I'm talking about you're only grabbing your first connections. You can't go out and grab everybody's information, okay? You can only grab the people that you're connected to because that's all that LinkedIn's going to allow. That's how they have the site set. Same way as you can only message the people you're directly connected to, which are contacts, or group members, right? Now you can contact the group owners. This is actually a nice little feature for, you know, if you want to approach people for a brokering deal, you know, a JV deal. You can contact the owner of a group who obviously has lots of influence with the group and can post messages for you, and you know, if you've got a good offer, you can split commissions with them, things like that. So, you know, that's a really nice feature there. There's, you know, you're able to search results and send to the people that you're connected to through those key terms that you search. Whether it's a group, a set of groups, or a set of people, you'll be able to send those messages based on that. Okay, and yeah, I mean, the cool thing is this software is extremely easy to use. You know, you just log in, load your contacts. You know, the more contacts you have, the longer it'll take to load. So I like to actually send to my groups first, and then we'll backtrack to the contacts. You know, in order to avoid duplication or duplicate messages, I should say, you can actually click New Campaign. So what happens is you send the message out once, and you know, sometimes you share groups with multiple groups with people, and you don't want them to get 4 or 5 messages from the same deal.
Right.
So what you do is this thing actually stores them and doesn't send them a new message until you hit New Campaign. So that's a pretty neat feature there, where you know you can rock out tons of messages, you know, every day and pull in more leads than you can handle just with, literally running the software 5, 10, 15 minutes. You'll have more leads than you can handle. I know a guy.
If one individual's in multiple same groups that you're in, the software essentially would deduplicate that list that it was sending to.
Exactly. Before it sends out. Exactly.
Good.
So one of the cool things is, a guy that I know personally says it takes about, an hour to an hour and a half for someone to send about 100 messages. And that sounds about right when I used to send mine by hand. And this thing, sends out to a group anyway, 500 messages in less than a minute. So you can basically, with this software alone, save yourself every time you go lead gen hunting. You can save yourself, 5 hours at a time or more. Use this thing for 20 minutes, and that's the beautiful thing about this software is that, you can use it and not sit in front of it all day. And I bet Willie knows what I'm talking about here. There's software out there where you can use it and it automates the heck out of something, but you've got to sit there all day.
Yeah, I use some software that just hangs up and it'll wait for you to make some input before it'll keep going. Rod over in the question box is asking what kind of messages are you sending out? He wants an idea of what kind of message you send out to a group of people.
Again, it's you don't want to take a spam approach. It's not an offer. Like for example, I mailed out to this training here and said, hey, here's some techniques that I want to show you. Check this out. Here's where you can register, and when they register, obviously they get several free videos and training right off the bat before they even come to the live event, tonight. So that's some of you guys actually came from that. so you're seeing how I use. What's funny is you're seeing how I use the software to show you this training tonight. I mean, that's crazy.
And I've used the system to message people about a new book that I released. I've used it to announce that I'm speaking someplace, things like that. And basically it's based on the fact that I know the interests of the people in a given group, and so I send them messages on things I know they'd be interested in.
Right. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. You can ask people if they need help, or if you've got a friend of yours, or if you've got something yourself that you need to get rid of but is of value, like giving away a free website, or that's targeted to an HVAC person, let's say, or a plumber. Maybe a plumber backed out of a deal on you. And I'll tell you something, doing that, just setting that up, which, you think, oh, it's giving away my work. Well, if you think about it, you've already done the work practically. There's only a couple things you need to do to retrofit it for someone else in the similar market, right? And once you've done that, you've got yourself, possibly a client for life, definitely referrals for life, because that person's going to be forever grateful for something that you gave them that cost money. That's a big deal, or maybe even a discount. Who knows?
Oh, we mentioned groups already, but one of the things you haven't touched on is the power in being a group owner, and that you can use this actually to build your group, because when you're the group owner, you're sort of the authority figure, and that in itself gives you extra leverage.
Actually, yeah, I send out messages all the time inviting people to groups that I've made, and I made a group for consultants looking for cool tools. So whenever I come across a really cool tool, guess what? I send them information about it, or case studies on it and what it can do, and that's a really neat feature. I took a group about a week and a half ago now. I took a group, 20 minutes of using the software, sent out my invites, and was done for the day. And the rest of the week, I went from 0 to 150 members, and no time flat. For 20 minutes use of the software. I didn't even hit everybody that I could. I just hit a few people and said, here you go, check this out, and the people that joined are ones that are interested in the tools. That's how it goes. So pretty cool stuff there. It's, as a group owner, you're able to send messages out, announcements. You're able to control what's talked about in the group, even if you want to get down to it.
You make the rules for your group.
That's it. It's your baby. It's almost like an email list, only a little more, again, networking based at that point. But you've kind of siphoned off people from LinkedIn. So pretty neat stuff there, you know.
It's like an
I'm
email
glad
list,
you
but
brought
it's
that up.
better because of the deliverability. I mean, you're getting 100% into their inboxes.
Exactly, exactly, and that's the beautiful part about this. So, okay, so you've seen the software. You know how I automate this. I've already seen a couple people ask me if I'm actually going to be offering this, and the answer to your question is yes. I am actually offering this. I wasn't going to, but here's the deal. What you're going to get, okay, what I'm offering tonight, and this is a special, so this is the first time that I've released this. This has not been, you know, sold anywhere else before. And again, I mean that, you know, this is not something I take lightly. I wasn't originally going to sell this. This is something I just use for my own business and a few friends and my beta testers, obviously. But so you'll get
It gives you an
stuff.
unfair advantage. I mean, it's one of those
Absolutely.
stealth tools that you don't want your competitors to know about. Because
Absolutely.
they're spending hours every day out there on LinkedIn sending messages one at a time when you can in 20 minutes do what they did in 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and the beautiful part about that is the people who respond back. I'm now engaged, you know, in the hour it took them to send messages. I've already engaged in 2 or 3, maybe even 4 conversations just by running the software for 5 or 10 minutes and sitting around and hitting refresh, waiting on fresh leads to come in, literally. And the cool thing about that is when they send a response message, I have no qualms about, you know, calling them up, you know, like directly from their profile number and saying, hey, and they're like, oh, you're the guy from LinkedIn I was just talking to. Yeah, I just figured it'd be easier for us to, you know, get on the phone and chat a bit, you know, and I can have a deal closed out before the end of the hour's up. Everybody else is still sending messages, you know, looking for the person, and I've already found them, you know, and closed them. So, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, that software just really, I mean, leverage isn't even really the word. It's more like, you know, it's kind of, I call it squirrel hunting with a bazooka, you know. It's you know, overly effective, and so you're gonna go ahead.
You're showing them the software, but we're getting people asking still about how to use it. There's one guy wants to know if he could use it to sell his MLM. I think the answer is yeah. I mean, you're trying to reach people with a common interest, and so as long as you're,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of MLM people on LinkedIn that use it. They network, obviously, so your networking skills will definitely come into play here, and you know, put you at a slight advantage over everybody else. You know exactly what I was talking about earlier, and what Willie was even you know, saying about networking and how powerful that is, and on LinkedIn, that's just the way to go, hands down. So anyway, tonight, what you're going to get as a special offer is going to be the software, LinkedIn Commander software. You're going to get LinkedIn Domination, which is a 37-page PDF. This is not spread out. This is not huge text. This is in your face, you know, no frills, how to get set up, you know, start to finish, how to optimize your profile, even start some of the lead generation techniques, okay? So not only do you have the lead gen that I taught you, you know, the lead gen stuff I taught you tonight, and the connections stuff that I taught you tonight, you also will get it in this manual extra ways, okay, ways that I use. Now, you know, this real-world value, it's actually, this may not be true. I think it's actually more than this because I recently talked to a guy who outsources some of his lead generation on LinkedIn, and, you know, outsourcers, a team of outsourcers for the month, you know, you're looking at probably 200, 250 on the lowest end, wouldn't you say, Willie? Per
Yeah,
person.
and those are the people that are going to need a lot of training.
That's right. So yeah, you're talking a lot of upkeep, a lot of ongoing, you know, well, not ongoing, but upstart, and some ongoing. And you're talking, you know, 4 people, a team of 4 people, to generate what my software could do in 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day. You're looking at, you know, $1,000 a month,
Right.
right? So right off the bat, you know, the annual value of what my software can do is around $12,000, right? But I just went with my techniques and I put a real world value on it for what I feel you could earn with it, you know, within 24 to 48 hours. I feel like if you're not making $1,000 within 24 to 48 hours, you're probably not using the software right or working hard enough using it, or maybe taking the right approach. But when you get this thing honed in, this number right here is a realistic number for you to attain every time you go out and use the software. Every time, no question about it. And you know, again, I'm making a special offer on this because this is the first time I've ever offered it. You know, I had talked to a couple of mentors of mine, and they told me, "Why are you sitting on that? That's a total gem. People will love you for it. You know, you should even make a mastermind around it." And so I'm going to be doing that. And obviously only the people that get in on the software are going to have access to that. And that's limited, actually. This is all limited because I don't know how many people I want to include into the mastermind that I'm setting up. I haven't determined that yet. I've got to do some thinking on that. But you're going to be able to get all this today for just $97. $97. And the reason being is because, again, I'm building a mastermind. I just want some kind of a commitment that you're serious about your business and that you want to succeed on LinkedIn, okay? That and the software development costs some money. So, you know, you put that together. I'm looking for people who are looking for me that want to get together in a tight-knit group and work. Here's the link right here, commandermarketing.com/LinkedIn. And actually, I'll go there now. Hold on, let me.
I also just pasted it into the chat window so people can see it.
Excellent, excellent. I just want to show you what you're going to be looking at here.
And while you're doing that, though, you mentioned the mastermind. I didn't want to gloss over that because that is other people using the software as well as you and I interact with these people to get the most use out of the software. That is huge. That's like personal consultation from us. It's huge.
Right. Yeah, that's very big. I mean, that's an ongoing thing, and obviously tips and tricks that I learn along the way and that I haven't shared already, all that will become available and come to light. But the software is the key, and push. You know, when you get together in a group like that and push for something as one, man, everybody knows teamwork achieves, you know, results far greater than any one person could ever achieve by themselves. So using that idea, that philosophy with the software that literally we're talking about how much time are we talking about investing? No, you know, a fraction of what you've spent listening in on this training tonight, okay? Literally. And for that, you know, you do that once or twice a week with that mastermind that we're going to have, that, you know, the results are going to be insane. It's just going to be really something of note and something that mastermind will become known for, you know, and it's, again, an elite group. And that's the point, is that there's an elite group of people that, you know, are in the know and only spend 20 to 30 minutes a couple times a week to you know, max everything out. That's crazy. So here's the
Kevin's
page.
looking at this and he's saying, okay, it's $97 up front. What's the monthly fee?
You know, that's a good question. I thought about putting a monthly fee onto this. There's no monthly fee. It's a flat rate. Like I said, I'm not looking to make a ton of money with this here, okay? That's not the objective. Hopefully you got that from the training. My objective here is, again, to build the mastermind. That $97 is to cover costs and development and to show me that you're serious about investing in your business with LinkedIn, and to move forward, you know, to the next step with a group of people just as dedicated as you are.
And Cindy, who's also very interested, says, I'm on a Mac. Will this software work on a Mac?
Yes, it will if you're running parallel, or a parallel. So if you've got Windows running on a Mac, you can run this. If not, then you're going to have to run it on a PC, or even a Windows-based server will run it. But it is PC only. You're going to need .NET framework, but that's pretty standard, pretty common.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, other than that, you know, you allow it through your firewall and make sure your antivirus programs are, you know, compatible with it. Which when I say compatible, I mean make sure that they allow it as well, and you'll be good to go.
And Mary Lou says, I work on an office computer at work, and I'd like to use it there, but I also want to use it on my home computer. Can I use it on more than one machine?
Yes, multiple machines is possible. It's just you cannot use the same account at the same time in multiple places. If that makes any sense.
That makes
So
perfect sense.
it's like licensed basically. So if you want one for you to use and one for your husband to use, and you're both trying to use it at the same time, then you're going to need 2 licenses for that. But one if you're going to use it at different times or different places, different computers. So good question, very good question on that.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, one user can really use a machine at one time. So yeah, otherwise it's an indicator that somebody's doing something questionable. One of the people asked about training. They said, you showed us the software and it looks very intuitive, but do you have training available?
Yes, I do. Actually, I was going to get to that. I'm offering, again, this is not the end of the special offer here. I know that price is extremely low, so I know there's people excited about that. I'm seeing that come in too. But here's the deal. This is a time-sensitive deal. I'm sure you saw the counter. Actually, I'm going to adjust this. I talked to Willie. We're going to be adjusting this to Saturday at midnight. So this Saturday, what is that, the 4th?
That's the 4th, yes.
The 4th. 4th at midnight, Eastern Standard Time, is going to be when this countdown runs out. That countdown might actually be accurate. Let me go back and check here. Yeah, I believe this is accurate. So when this countdown runs out, this thing will go up to 147. And what's really crazy is I expect a huge response from this. I don't think it may even sell for 147 because I may be sold out. Again, I'm only looking for that group of people that are ready to go and ready to make this happen. So I do want to limit it because I want to be able to provide the quality to that group. It's not fair if I have so many people in the group that I can't give a little more personal attention to you guys. So,
yeah, that's so true with the mastermind. After you hit a certain level of members, then it becomes unmanageable. So you do want to limit it to a certain number of users, and so I do encourage my listeners to jump in there now and be in that group, because it's not just you teaching them how to get the most use out of the software. It's all the group members as they learn new uses for it and come up with new ideas. They're all leveraging this. So it's the synergy of the entire group that's incredible. It's an incredible value, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, it's a time-sensitive offer, but what I'm going to be doing, because this is an initial offering, I'm going to give you my top 10 opening messages, conversation, what I call door openers, icebreakers, for 10 different niches that are consultant-based and IM-based. So we're talking, for email marketers, for marketing consultants, for SMS providers, for web designers. I mean, all those niches are covered and then some. Top 10 messages there. So opening the door will not be a problem, okay? With what I taught you tonight and my top 10 messages, it's a no-brainer, okay?
That is nice. That is nice. Because they get the benefit of your practical experience using the software and your background in sales and all those things too. So that's powerful.
Exactly. And what's even better, the next thing you get is the top secret closing techniques that I have. This is the down and dirty of how I close business, and it's very interesting. It's a very interesting topic because there's some stuff in there that's actually controversial, but I know it works because I've used it. When I say controversial, I don't mean unethical or illegal. It could be used for those purposes, and I think that's where some of the heat comes from. But again, if you approach things from a networking standpoint, how to help people, this manual right here makes complete sense to use. And again, you're opening the door here, you're closing here, right? I'm going to explode your connections because I'm going to give you 1,000 more connections than what TopLink gives you in the membership area. There's a whole membership area that that holds the software, the training, and all these bonuses. You're going to get another 1,000 connections from making that investment tonight.
So this is another spreadsheet they can just upload to the software. People who want to make connections.
Yes, actually, I divided it up into 10 different spreadsheets with about 200 each. Yep, that's exactly right. and not to mention, a lot of people struggle getting recommendations, especially on a brand new account. So I'm offering a personal recommendation to get you started. I want to help you get started and succeed on LinkedIn, and so I have no problems recommending you, to get that boost going. So everything here is designed to help you succeed. If you see, everything's built around what I taught tonight. Nothing is related. Everything is direct. It's a direct connection to exactly what I taught tonight. So I hope you see that. And again, this is time sensitive. We're talking. It's going to this is going to be actually. Let me change this, Saturday. We just had that talk, so let me go ahead and change that right here.
Okay.
So you guys can see Saturday at midnight. Okay, and again, to recap, that's going to be, the software, the LinkedIn domination, which is setup and optimization, start to finish of your profile, and even some strategies on lead generation that I didn't cover. Getting my top 10 messages for the different niches for opening that door, my top secret closing techniques to close the business once you open that door, an extra 1,000 connections, okay, to explode your LinkedIn profile even more, and a personal recommendation to blow up your recommendations to get you started. And you're going to get all of that again for just $97.
Wow.
Yeah, I know,
I mean,
right?
It honestly is easily worth probably $19.97 or something. I mean, if people don't see the value in that,
right.
It's a no-brainer.
So again,
one customer is worth 10 times that much.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding? Yeah, some of those customers, one of those customers could be worth 10 to 100. It just depends on who you're grabbing. Just
right.
like it's pretty cool stuff. So again, that's commandermarketing.com/LinkedIn. No spaces, no dashes. And when you go there, again, here's the page. There's a buy button right here. There's an overview of the software, exactly what that does, which we covered again in the webinar, and tonight. And then there's the bonus package cover. Okay, what's covered in the bonus package, and there's the order now button. You just click on that, and it's going to immediately direct you to a PayPal, which is a checkout through DigiResults, a very secure payment processor. You just enter your information in, and get connected.
One of the best-known payment processors out there, the same people that owns eBay.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's a very secure payment processor here with DigiResults and PayPal together. That's top-notch there. So that's it. Or do we have any questions from here?
Let's see, I'm looking. People are asking if they need to contact you for any reason. There's probably a support link somewhere on the page, right?
Absolutely. There's support available. I'll give you my personal email address. I'll actually type it. Let me type it in on the slide here.
Oh, excellent.
Let me find some space here.
Sure.
I'll do it right here. Just kind of make it real quick.
Sure.
It's going to be wtmearsii@hotmail.com. Now, here's what's cool about this mail. I'm not giving you a support email. Again, I'm only looking for the mastermind people here, okay? If you want to buy the software and use it, by all means, and you don't want to be a part of the mastermind, which I'm sure very few do, that's fine, but I'm looking for the mastermind people. So I'm not going to give you a support email that goes to a support desk and you got to wait 24 hours, 48 hours, all that. Now, I do sleep, so I am one man, and I've got an assistant and everything, but my assistant doesn't handle my personal email. So this is my personal email that I check every day. It's one of 3 windows that's up every day when I wake up, actually. I have my Facebook window, my LinkedIn window, and my email. Those 3 always stay up so that I can check them first thing in the morning and last thing in the night before I go to bed. So
the other
this
question
is how you can...
Other question we're getting is about the guarantee. Sorry.
The guarantee, yeah. The guarantee is, 30 days, you're going to get or your money back. This thing is, ironclad. You're not going to have a problem with this. It's been debugged. I've had a lot of beta testers working on this for several months. I've used it personally for several months, and the guarantee is based on the software itself, definitely.
Once you start using this software, we'd have a huge fight on our hands if we tried to pry the software away from you. I know that for a fact because I absolutely love this software.
Yeah, it would be hard to say, hey, would you give that up? Yeah, most people, wouldn't want to give that up. I totally agree with that. In fact, everybody I've ever showed this said, oh my gosh, this totally blows any other software I've ever seen out of the water for LinkedIn. And oh yeah, look at all this training you got. That alone is worth the money. So that's again, I'm looking for the mastermind. I'm giving. If you notice, I'm taking my own advice here. I'm giving. I believe in giving, more than I get, and because I believe that way, I know that the mastermind I end up with is going to be awesome, because that's my goal. My goal is to cover costs and build a mastermind, and that's where the magic really is going to happen for all of us.
Absolutely, it'll connect you with a lot of doers, which is huge. So why don't we just maybe wrap up with giving them that link to go ahead and get their order in now before they forget and Saturday night rolls around and they've missed out on the best price.
Absolutely. Again, that's going to be commandermarketing.com/LinkedIn. No spaces, no dashes. commandermarketing.com/LinkedIn.
And you are going to love the software as much as I do.
Oh yeah, this thing, everybody loves this. It's a great software. So yeah, thanks for having me out, Willie. I appreciate it, and had a lot of fun training on one of my favorite subjects, one of my favorite lead gen sources too.
It's always an absolute pleasure. It's an honor for me and a duty to be able to share with my listening audience something that offers this much leverage. I mean, software is the ultimate leverage, and LinkedIn is that one platform that so few people seem to get, and yet it's where the buyers are. So I'm very honored to be able to share this with my audience, because I know it'll make a big difference in their business. So I just want to encourage you to go over and grab that software.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks.
Thank you. Take care, guys.
Bye.